it should
Oh,
be.
we're doing it live. Wow.
Of course,
okay.
yeah. Why not? Let's just go all the way.
I know why you want to do it live. You want to do it live because you spent all that time rebuilding your machine.
Exactly. Now I need this to go live.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Well, we've got an excellent connection, which is good. And then we should be actually live now. Is that true? Is it live, publicly live? Yes. Alrighty. Oh, we've got some. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, here we are again. We've got 2 or 3 sort of live streams already, trying to get this everything to set this up. The first one was without audio. The second one was without Chris. Now the third one finally has the 3 guys together again. And just a little bit of information for those who only see this stream. Chris is actually at the Singapore GP. He has just seen the race live, and he's now back in his hotel room. Oscar and me were watching the race, obviously from our home, and it was quite the race. But first of all, we need to know, obviously, from Chris. I mean, how was it? What did you think of it going there live?
I'd forgotten how infectious it is to be at a Grand Prix live.
Yeah.
It is really fantastic. Everyone has their own teams that they cheer for, of course, but like in qualifying yesterday when Lance had his crash, everybody stood up and everyone's like, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car!" And when he got out of the car, everyone cheered and applauded. So. And then we had all sorts of ridiculous little things happen. Like one of the track cleaning trucks went past where we were all sitting, and everyone cheered and applauded because it was the only vehicle on the track in qualifying.
So cool. Yeah.
And then it's been hot here. Obviously, it's 32 degrees and 80% humidity. And where we were sitting in the grandstands, the sun went down behind the stands or behind the pit building opposite us at about 5:45. So after that, it was just hot, but it wasn't direct sun.
Okay.
And we found a couple of places by the Singapore River where we could sit between different qualifying sessions and everything. And, there was a nice cool breeze. And you kind of had to do that just because the heat is so oppressive. You have to find some way of getting out of the heat. And then today, of course, they did the drivers' parade at 10 to 6. That lasted for about 20 minutes while they drove all of the drivers around the track. And then there was sort of this pause while the Paddock Club people got to do their pit walk. And then you're starting to get close when all of the Paddock Club guests are sort of ushered out of the pit lane, and they start to wind up the red rope and everything, and then all the pit wall is closed, and then you have the track technicians doing a track walk, making sure there's no debris on the track, no plastic bottles or anything.
Yeah.
And,
okay, cool.
And then after that, there's these 2 big holes open up in the pit wall. And all of the carts come out with the tires and all of the machinery to start the cars and everything. And there's this whole sort of ballet, this big song and dance where all of the carts are put in just the right position, and all of the tire warmers are plugged in, and they check the air guns, and and then they put the barriers up around where the cars are going to be. And then Burt Mylando leaves the pit lane in the safety car and does one lap, and then comes through all of the vehicles or all of the places on the pit and the stop or on the start finish straight, and stops right at the front. And then each one of the cars is sort of, they drive around to the back of the start finish straight, and then they all get pushed into position. I mean, it's all the stuff you've seen on TV, but it's way more infectious when you're there, when it's live, and okay, it was disappointing that Max wasn't at the spot right in front of us, but it really didn't matter because, we had the Ferrari team there that was prepping Sainz's car. We got to see Sainz get into his racing outfit, put his helmet on, get into the car.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
And then they had this big horn that sounds around the whole track for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the 3-minute mark, all of the people leave the cars and they all go and stand on both sides of the the start finish straight. Again, it's all the stuff you've seen on TV, but
yeah, but it's so much more.
It's so much more when there's a crowd of 200 and something thousand people there.
Yeah. Cool. Really cool.
And then the one thing that you don't hear on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if this is just for Singapore, they have DJs playing all the time, and it's pumped out over the whole track. So you get this. They're playing like EDM all the time, and then as it gets down to the 1 minute mark, the EDM starts to fade out, and what it's replaced with is the sound of a heartbeat slowing down.
Oh yeah.
Slowing down and slowing down.
Yeah.
And once the heartbeat stops is when they go on to the formation lap.
Yeah.
Really well
cool.
done. And then, of course, there's no music after that. They do the formation. Let's go.
Yeah. Really cool. Oh, yeah.
And then, obviously, the race itself was an absolute barn burner. It was... Max started in 11th. Checo started in 13th, I think. 14th.
Yeah.
I think everyone was pretty much resigned to the fact they weren't really going to place.
Yeah.
And then the commentary that we got in Singapore was a local commentary team, so it wasn't the stuff that you hear on Formula One TV. It wasn't Sky; it was local to Singapore. And they were talking really early on, about playing the long game.
Yeah.
And they were saying there's been these pit radio calls to Max saying, don't try and challenge the car in front. You're playing the long game here. Don't tires go off. And it sort of worked, because when they put him on fresh medium tires, and he came out 16th,
15th something,
15th,
yeah.
and then fought his way up to 6th effectively, and was gifted 5th on the last corner because of Russell. That's the Max Verstappen in the car that everybody knows. It's just a shame that they blew it so badly in free practice 1, 2, and 3 in qualifying. But I honestly think it made for a better race, because it put him in the middle of the pack. He was fighting in the middle of the pack. At the front, you had Sainz, who was being chased down by Norris, who was being chased down by Russell, who was being chased down by Hamilton. And then on that last corner, Sainz hit the wall. Norris hit the wall. Russell hit the wall and went out, and Lewis missed the wall. And that's how we ended up with 1, 2, 3 the way it was. Of course, huge fireworks at the end, and then they started playing Robbie Williams, who was playing live on the big stage at the other side of the track and everything. And then again, it's the stuff that you've seen on TV. So there were a lot of people ran onto the start finish straight, and they were doing the post race interviews and everything else. But it was, we had a Dutch family to the right of us. We had some more Red Bull fans next to me. We had a Red Bull fan next to Paula. So we had a little group of Red Bull fans. But behind us, there were some Red Bull, some Ferrari. There were some Williams. I mean, it was just a spread all over the grandstands. There weren't, there weren't particular grandstands for particular sports.
No. Well, great stuff.
Yeah, it was absolutely infectious. I mean, you're just on a complete adrenaline buzz the whole time. Once they get to the point where everything's on the grid and everyone's working on the cars, and you see all the TV crews out there, and you see the pit crews, and you see the people doing the interviews, and then the drivers come out, the national anthem. And when you see it on TV, it takes forever. You're like, oh God, there's another half an hour before the race. Here, it went by like that.
There's so much more to see, because you can look everywhere.
So much more to see. And we went from a completely empty start-finish straight to everybody fall, all the cars there, and then the race had started.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it took 5 minutes to get from
yeah.
one to the other. And it was 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I'd love to go to another race. It's I've been to a couple of races when I was 10, 15 years ago, which was nice at the time when Schumacher was still racing, even Senna. Oh, what? Red Bull. Yeah, but it's but I'd love to. Yeah, thank you for that intermezzo. Yeah, no, it's great. I'd love to go there, and I can totally understand that it's great if you're there. It's so much more interesting if you're there. About the strategy,
it really is.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. The strategy was exactly as you said. I think they were playing the long game. Doing something else than the rest because in the normal race we can't win anyway. So let's try something different.
Yeah, and they didn't have a lot of choice.
No. So that's. I can totally understand why they did that. But then where it became a little bit iffy and I don't know for sure how it would have played out, but when that yellow flag came at that point, it was very difficult to make the call whether to stay on the long game or go with or change it and go with the rest, because they just because the rest could now make a stop for 15 seconds less or so, or 20 seconds less than they would normally do. That would be the thing that they would miss out on the end of the long game. Because normally they would have calculated everybody for normal stops, I would think. So now suddenly it became different, and then I thought, and then after that they really, they couldn't keep up really, and they were passed by all these guys. Then luckily, obviously, what you were saying at the end, Max came from 15th to 5th in the end, and that would have been maybe the place anyway. I'm not sure if that would have made a real difference. And then in the end, he was catching up to Leclerc. But that's again the same thing, because of the yellow flag, he couldn't overtake Leclerc, but he was given one place because Russell went out, and that's why the yellow flag came. If the yellow flag wasn't there, he might have maybe passed Leclerc and also had a 5th place. So it's the same result anyway. So maybe this was just the best that he could do.
Another one of the things that you get when you're there live is the crowd reaction that you just don't hear on TV.
Oh yeah.
Like when was it Ocon that went out?
Yeah.
He went past the front of us, and we knew before they commented that he was going to cause a yellow flag because he passed the pit entry, and he went past us, and his car sounded like a washing machine.
Yeah.
And like they called the yellow flag, and you just hear the whole crowd go.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
They know what that means. It's like that's either going to be a safety car or a virtual safety car. It's going to bunch everybody up again.
Yeah.
Well, and then they showed us the rain radar on the big screens above the map.
We saw that too. Yeah.
And it was like, you might get some rain.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have, totally messed up
really
everything. Yeah. Well, I think obviously, being a Red Bull fan or a Max fan, this is not ideal. But on the other hand, there's no way that they just could have kept winning every race. That's just not a thing that we would ever expect.
And I'm glad that their winning streak was broken by Ferrari, not by Mercedes.
Yeah, that. I like that too. I like that Sainz got the win. I really when the race started, I told Michelle, I really hope that Sainz wins this, and he did, which is great. Norris second is obviously also really good. So I'm fine with all that.
Norris is only a few Grand Prix away from a pole now. From winning.
He's definitely there. I would love to see him race next to Max, because they would be almost as quick, I would think. And that obviously Max wouldn't then be so dominant anymore, but that that's a 1 year.
Giving him a car that really works well.
Yeah. So now he's got a. I don't know what. Perez again. I don't know. Was he? He wasn't bad, but I don't think he did a particularly good job. And I mean, are they going to keep him? They are adamant that they are keeping him, but
they need to keep him. I mean, that was an off race for both of them. But if you look at the previous 3 races, I mean, he's the reason that they are team like close to the team championship.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he's consistent in the points that he gets, in the positions that he gets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then he just has these 1 or 2 off races, and everyone's like, "Oh, get rid of him." I'm like, "No, don't get rid of him. Get rid of Ricardo and keep Lawson."
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah. Ricardo was a strange decision to me anyway. I mean, we haven't been live for ages, so we've all discussed this, you know, in between. But I don't understand why they are, you know. And now I think it's done because he can't show if he's any good because he's not driving now.
No.
I mean, and Lawson is really doing a good job.
Lawson is doing way better than he was.
And I think he is the one to go for. Really. I mean, it's a bit bad luck for Ricciardo. Also, it's also his own fault, mostly.
His own fault.
Mostly it's his own fault. But
I mean, some of it's his fault, and some of it is. I mean, do you remember who was the Polish driver that Williams had a hard on for?
Oh yeah, Kubica.
Kubica.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it was, they desperately wanted him back in the car, and it was like, why?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Ricardo. There's teams that just want him back in the car. I'm like, he's retired.
Yeah.
If he'd have stayed with Red Bull, or if he'd have stayed with McLaren, or if he'd have stayed with Alpine, but he just kept changing teams.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to want you if you just keep changing teams like that.
No, I agree. True. He doesn't have that anymore, and I think he should. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think Lawson is so much a better choice than Ricciardo is, and we'll see. But okay, next race is Japan. I am not quite sure. I think Red Bull normally does a good job there because of Honda, and they always do something special. Like Austria, you know, it's their sort of second home Grand Prix. But I don't know. You know, it's been. I'm not worried that much because we've seen things like this happening every year. I mean, Singapore has always been a bad circuit for Red Bull. I don't think. Perez won it last year, I have to say, but I think he did. So it's not that bad. But again, before that, Ferrari was always quick, and I don't know, you know, and also. I was thinking Monza, but Monza did a great job now. So Japan's probably going to be good again, and then they'll probably be on the front again. So
what was funny was in the closing stages of the race, you could tell there were two parts of the crowd. There was one part of the crowd that was watching the front 4 cars.
Yeah,
They were cheering when something happened up there. And then there was one part of the crowd that was watching Max steadily overtaking more and more cars in the midfield. So you'd hear cheers from different parts of the audience.
That's cool. Yeah.
You know, and it was like, oh, what just happened? What did I miss? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's still great that it's a sport where all these fans can exist next to each other. You know, nobody really, you know, it's all good. And it became a little bit. You know, not like that with 2 years ago with Max and Hamilton. Then you really got a little bit more, you know, camps of people that were booing each other and everything. I think that has settled down a little bit more.
Actually, when they did the driver lineup, when they did the drivers parade, when Lewis was driven around past the main grandstand, there was a lot of booing.
Oh yeah.
Really?
And he was the only driver that anyone booed at.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
There's still a lot of ill feeling towards him from a lot of people, not just the Red Bull people.
No. No, well, I mean, the remarks that Mercedes and Hamilton made over the last week, you know, that's a bit childish, or what do you call it? I mean, the remarks that, you know, what Max was doing is not that special. I mean, everybody knows that it's a statistic, and it's also maybe a little bit of luck, but you can't deny that he's just a damn good driver, and why not just acknowledge that fact? It's much stronger as a rival team to say, you know, that's a really good job, and you know, why not? And then both Toto and Hamilton sort of dissed him in that respect, and I don't know why. I mean, they look weak.
I know why. It's because Lewis wants to be the best of all time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lewis wants to set all of these records, and someone swimming in his pool taking his records away from him while he's still a driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he doesn't like the fact that he doesn't have 10 race wins in a row.
I totally understand that he doesn't like that. He might even hate that, but then go in front of television crews and be like that is not. It's weak. It's not strong. It's stronger.
But that's who he is.
Yeah, I know he's weak. But Toto is too. He's also a little bit like a little toddler throwing his rattler out of the crib. You know, it's it's just terrible. But anyway, you know, I'm Russell. I'm still, I don't know. I mean, he seems to be getting more of a prick over the last couple of races. He's getting Mercedes ways about him.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
slowly joining the dark side.
Yeah, he's slowly turning to the dark side. Yeah, all this anger will lead you to the dark side. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Well, anyway, it was a good race, especially the end. You know, these 4 cars. You know, and I like Sainz. I mean, I think he's a great guy. I like him as a driver. I don't know why. You just have preferences. I have to say I like him more than Leclerc, and there's no obvious reason why, but that's just me. And I really like the fact that he handled that so well, and also that he took control of the situation. You know, with the DRS and keeping Norris behind him. You know, that's just really great racing. And if we saw him after the race in the interviews. And he's just, you know, the eyes were just like, wow, I'm so ecstatically happy, you know. He's like a little boy, you know, at Christmas. It's just really, I like that.
There was a camera shot of him in qualifying, like just before qualifying, where one of the camera crew got in front of the car and focused on him.
Yeah.
And the look on his eyes, like the only bit of him that you can see through that.
You can see that, yeah.
The look on his eyes was like, this weekend is mine.
Yeah.
There was so much determination there.
Yeah, great stuff. And I think he's just he has a stronger personality or whatever than Leclerc has. So he might be more of a winner, you know, a championship.
Well, he pushes back on Ferrari. So what was it, 3 or 4 races ago, Ferrari said, you know, go to Plan C. And he's like, I don't even know what Plan C is.
No. That's a great.
They're like, okay, Plan A.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Well, you have to. Also, Vasseur, he is the good thing for Ferrari now because he is so. Like he's like stoic, or what's the call? He's very flat in his reactions and a little bit humoristic, and he keeps the pressure a little bit more contained. It's not like the Italian, you know. He's just like keeping it all a little bit more, and that's good for the team because it keeps the.
He's a laid back Spaniard. He's like Alonso.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Alonso made a couple of mistakes today, which he normally never does. So that's.
Oh, speaking of Aston Martin, the Stroll crash yesterday.
Yeah.
Where we were sitting on the start-finish straight. You could hear the cars coming around that last corner because you could hear as they went over the curb.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You heard this.
Yeah.
Went across the curb.
Yeah.
And we saw 3 cars come around the corner and we heard brr, brr, boom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we knew that someone had missed the corner. And then this wheel sort of came down the track and Norris was on the wrong side of the track slowing down. And we're like, oh, my God, you know, someone's had a really big accident.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we saw it on the TV, and they just had the cameras focused on him. And it took him a long time to get out of the car.
Yeah.
And said that was it 125 G?
Something like that.
When he hit the wall, the G meter in the car registered 125 G.
Yeah, it's terrible. It was a big crash.
And that's why he wasn't racing today.
Yeah. But I heard he was not allowed to get out of the car because he was on track, and other cars are still driving around.
Okay,
then you are not allowed to get out of the car. Actually,
Okay, yeah, we didn't get that, so but that makes sense.
so you're only when you're next to the track you can leave the car.
Or when your car catches fire, then you probably
because
are allowed to.
No,
No, stay in the car. You get fined 1 million.
He's still inside the crash structure, so he would be safer in the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
but that was good. And well, obviously he had a concussion or whatever, because he didn't race today. And I was wondering whether there was not enough time to get another driver in there, but they just can't after.
I was wondering whether they were going to be able to rebuild the car because he probably
also,
just.
Yeah, that's also a thing, obviously. Well, luckily,
I think they made the wise choice on medical grounds, and that bought them the time. It's like, okay, don't rush putting the car back together. We'll do it, man.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think that's it. I think it's great that you took the time to come on, have a little bit of a chat about the race, and it would be obviously
very sore in the morning from all the shouting.
From the shouting. Yeah. I really hope that that maybe, I don't know, next year maybe we will be able to visit the race too. Zandvoort obviously would be the obvious choice to go there. Hey, we've got who's there. Hi. Anyway, so maybe next year. Let's see if we can do something or another year. I've been to Imola, Monza, Hockenheim, Magny-Cours in the back in the day when they were driving there. So I would love to go to Monaco, obviously, but that's probably not really the most obvious choice because that's very difficult to get into. But I mean, Hungary seems to be very accessible and cheap. Austria might be a really great track.
Austria would be an interesting one to go to.
Yeah, that's nice. A couple of days in the mountains there. Maybe do a travel. Yeah. We should try and do something, but we'll see. Anyway, for now we'll just do it with your experience and and be enthusiastic that way. And I was saying in one of the other live streams today that we hope to be back on a sort of a normal live stream one of these evenings. Although this week is not going to happen because Oscar won't be able to make it, but maybe the week after or something. And then Japan, is that next week or the week after? Do you know? Next week already. Okay, so then we will just reconvene after Japan in one way or another, or do it on the Sunday. Whatever. We'll see.
Something like that.
But then you'll be back, so that's going to be late in the evening then because you haven't seen it yet. So this is ideal for that. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. And you have do you have still a couple of days left in Singapore?
Yeah, we have 2 more days here, so we leave on Wednesday.
Great stuff. Okay. Very good.
Enjoy. Vacation.
Enjoy. And we will link up somewhere in the near future.
Definitely.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
See you.
Bye.